Last week, I was browsing YouTube when I had the completely original idea of teaching an AI to drive. Yeah, completely original. The thing is, these AIs have all been trained on a predefined course, meaning that a small change in the track could have a catastrophic impact on the AI's performance. This has left me wondering, how hard would it be to create an AI that can drive on a procedurally generated course? To start this project off, we need a racetrack. As model making's not my best skill, I scoured the web and found this great racing model kit by Kenny. The straight and tight corner pieces also have the same dimensions, which works perfectly for creating a procedurally generated track. To do this, I created a grid and used depth-first search to create a path, with the next node being chosen randomly. This allowed the route to vary each time it was generated, and it came up with some really interesting layouts. I then duplicated this grid and created a custom start and finish line to complete the track. I also updated the straight and corner prefabs to include a checkpoint in the middle of each piece, and threw down a quick script to track the car's progress around the track, ensuring that no checkpoints were skipped. There's one major problem with this scene. It's boring. To solve this, I grabbed another set of Kenny's models and created a simple scenery script that spawns in a random model. I added some clouds and big mountains to give the scene some more depth. The next step was to make a car to drive around the track. To do this, I slapped on a car model from the asset store, along with a basic car controller, some skid marks and collision particle effects. I then added 11 raycasts to the front of the car to enable the AI agents to be able to sense the world around them. The raycasts were set up to detect cars and walls, as well as the invisible checkpoints. So now we've got everything set up, it's time to get onto the AI. On the first episode of training, the AI had zero understanding of how to drive, so randomly tried different movements and looked completely incapable. By episode 65, the AI had finally learnt that driving forward was a good idea. However, it didn't quite understand the premise of turning left yet. A few episodes later, the fine art of turning had been conquered by the AI, meaning that it had made it through a good chunk of the course. This AI is truly unstoppable. The AI continued to learn, and by episode 691 it was able to make it just over 3/4 of the way around the track, although not reliably. After another 600 iterations, the AI didn't seem like it improved that much, so I decided it was time to change the course. This new track included a lot more corners that were closely packed together, which should add a massive challenge for the agent. Okay. Apparently it didn't. It's already made it basically halfway round. I left the agent running for a while, and came back at around episode 1913 to see that the agent hadn't really made much progress. While it was going around some of the corners pretty well, there were others that it just seemed to get stuck on. After watching the agents fail to go round some of these corners a few times, I decided that action needed to be taken. So, at episode 1961, I sent the agents to boot camp, where they were presented with every possible corner that they could face on the track. The agents were also repositioned in a different position along the width of the track each time that they respawned, so that they could learn to navigate all possible circumstances of the corners. While the agents started out slowly, with many of them crashing into the walls, the AI was eventually able to drive around all of the possible track layouts, so now it's just a case of speeding up the driving. This took a while, but by episode 3770, the AI was driving much faster. After seeing the success of the agents on their separate tracks, I thought that it was finally time to return to a normal course and to also include other cars to race against. This started off pretty badly, with agents constantly crashing into each other. But at episode 3810, an agent managed to dodge past the other cars and make a break for the track, which went well. It took until episode 4022 for the agents to get better at not crashing into each other, meaning that one of the cars managed to get almost halfway around the track. Then, at episode 4151, we finally saw the AI car complete a lap of the track. After another 200 episodes, pretty much every car was successfully driving at least one lap around the course. I continued to test this on a handful of tracks, and all of the cars were able to drive around them flawlessly pretty much on the first try. So, there we have it. We've now got a car that's able to drive around any procedurally generated track, and it only took just over 5,000 episodes and 10 hours of training. I hope you liked the video, and please don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe and all of that good YouTube stuff.